genealogy of the Lindsay family, and of course our people originally came from Edinburgh, Scotland to Boston by boat, which they blazed their own trail on horseback to Canada and settled at what they called Sherbrooke in the province of Quebec in a small village called Eaton Corners. Their firstborn child was William Henry Lindsay. He was born May 3rd, 1844, at this address. And in later years, now just how he came in contact with Carrie Vosmus from Cochise, Mass. Is a mystery to me, as she was born November the 10th, 1851, and died September the 10th, 1893, which would happen to be our grandmother, Ray. But they were married September the 4th in 1872, and then, of course, they had 4 children. Now, wait a minute.
That's all right. Got plenty of paper.
Yeah, that's all right. I want to get this in.
That's all right.
I'm sorry. In order. Wait a minute.
What was she? She was sister to my father, wasn't she?
Who?
Vosmus?
No, that was your grandmother. That was her maiden name, Carrie Vosmus, and she was born. They came from Cochise, Mass. Well, now you would like to know the birth date of your grandfather, your father, which is Fred H. Lindsay, and he was born July 17th, 1875, in Kenner, at this same appointed address, such as I speak of, at Eaton Corners. Does that sound all?
Don't do that.
Don't worry about it. Just talk. You're doing it fine. Don't be conscious because that's on.
She's got it all down.
I think it was cute.
He married Clara Samantha Crossley from Hantsport, Nova Scotia, which is on the Avon River, and which is a tributary of the Bay of Fundy, which is a beautiful spot. It's really, I hope you kids can go there sometime.
What's this county? Daddy says Hants County.
Hants.
in Hants County.
Yeah. Clara Samantha was born February the 9th, 1872. I have a little notation somewhere here about their marriage, and I thought it was kind of cute. Georgie gave it to me. So I have to find it somewhere.
Clara's father was John Harvey.
Well, don't bring the Harveys in. That's another setup, second marriage. Yeah, because I don't think Ray wants that.
Oh, you're not
Do you?
ready?
No.
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't think so, no.
Just keep going. You don't have to have
I'll get there in a
continuity.
minute.
Oh, that's Grandma's name, Clara Harvey.
Fred H. Lindsay, married August the 10th, 1896, was married to Clara S. Crossley from Hantsport, who at that particular time was working in Scituate. And they were married at the First Baptist Church, and the pastor was Albert D. Spalding, and the witness was Aunt Ine. Aunt Ine's.
Oh, yes.
Now, I think that was Wentworth. She was married twice, so I'm not too sure which is which, but that's the same one. Grandmother worked at the Black Rock House, and I think that's quite interesting, because you know that Black Rock House there on Black Rock Road was a very famous old hotel built right out on the rocks there at Cohasset. And that's where she worked. Then later, she went to the Mitchell House at North Scituate, Mass.
This is what Grandma, Daddy's mother did.
What did she do?
Right here.
Oh,
Just
she
speak up,
didn't
Granny,
care about
if you have
that.
something to say.
Oh, she doesn't?
Oh, I didn't know about her working in Chelsea,
She
but
did.
then...
She worked in
She-
Chelsea
she
at
designed.
some time.
She did paint and
Oh, I didn't know
Before
that.
she-
Yeah.
Oh,
see?
on
Yeah.
carriages.
Sure.
She was a carriage,
Yeah.
fancy
Right.
This is
designer.
your mother?
Yeah.
What did
Yeah.
she do?
She was a fancy designer on carriages.
Well, how nice.
is that right?
Yeah.
I thought maybe
That's
you'd want to put it in.
Well, we did. Just then.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I got them straightened out on the marriage. Well, then, do you want how many
But
children
wish
there
you-
are in their family?
Anything.
what, Daddy's right here?
Well, then why don't you go ahead and you put that in. Go ahead.
What did Daddy do?
I can't read your writing.
Maybe the best way to do it, Grammy, is let Hazel talk, and then you
Yeah.
can go through your list. But go ahead and you tell us about that.
Oh, well, I call him Dad.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Dad had 5 brothers, 1 sister. Dad was born on Auburn Street, Campbell, 1905. May the 25th. Edward Raymond Lindsay. And then I was going to tell about his father. Had a machine.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You
Just
want
keep
me to
going.
go?
He
Just-
wants it offhand. He
It doesn't-
doesn't
Okay.
He doesn't have to
particularly
be
care
arguing.
about
Father
it.
had a machine shop on North Lane Street. When Dad was 1 year old, they moved into the house on Layton Street.
When you
Dad's,
were 1 year old?
Hmm.
Is that right?
But
You
he had,
remember
the,
that?
he had the shop on Auburn Street too.
but you told
Okay.
him where Grandpa was born, so
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
yeah, so I don't need that.
Yeah.
Well, now this is a story on us, so leave it out for now.
Yeah. Okay.
Leave that
Yeah.
out.
Why don't you
Could,
let
they
Hazel
got another
continue.
little
Yeah.
antidote
And
here.
then if you got something else, Grammy, you want to tell, just wait until she gets through, and
Yeah,
then you can tell.
okay.
Great-grandfather, whom would be the parent of William Henry, which was our grandfather,
Mm-hmm.
he hand-carved a fish with a vein and was put on the steeple of a church up there at Eaton Corners.
Oh.
And Aunt Nina told me all this business, otherwise I would never have known anything.
That's
And
why
that
you-
would be,
that's
Aunt
what
Nina
you
is
were-
the sister
Why you were
to...
asking about it when Ann was
when
there.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Right.
and I wanted
That's
her,
what you
that
were
was
talking
a
about.
landmark pointer. But she discovered that it had burned down the church, so that was completely gone.
Oh.
And I did not know that the fish was a biblical symbol. Did you know that?
That's
Yeah.
right too.
I didn't really know
Yeah.
it, no.
Yeah. And it's the Scots, Jane.
It could be Aunt Jane.
Well, I guess it's about...
Hi. Yeah, he's coming. He's been fiddling around here and everything.
Hurry up, Dad.
Well, he was out there.
He
His
was
statement
waiting
to
for
would be,
you.
you hurry up.
Yeah.
'Cause he's been out there for about 20 minutes.
Oh, that's just, okay. This is, Grandpa Lindsay, William
Okay.
Henry had a
It's on.
brother Charles,
Yeah, I
and
did
then he
know.
also had a sister.
It was on. I just put it on.
So what is her name? Trying to think of her name.
And your father's sister was Mary Kingsley.
That's right.
Nina-
Aunt Nina was the
Nina-
oldest.
Nina Kingsley.
Aunt Nina was the
yeah.
oldest. Their mother died very young.
Yeah, because I never
She had
remembered
tuberculosis. And
This is
And
your...
my mother's,
Her
no, my
health-
father's sister,
Yeah.
Okay.
which was be her
which would be our,
father's sister too.
be your great-grandmother,
Okay.
Carrie Bosmus from Cochise. And that house still stands today that they lived
Well,
in.
in fact,
And it
Bosma
was-
still lives there.
And the Bosmus, he was a soap maker. He made soap. And I think they must have done pretty well because they had pretty nice things. They had beautiful china and glassware in their home. And Helen,
Somebody used to make
oh,
Homebrew?
well,
You
that
can
was,
say that loud.
that was probably Charles.
Yes,
but
I
he's an
believe it
elbow
was.
cousin of ours,
'Cause,
but I don't know him, but you probably do.
He was, that was one of their pretty well noted for in West Bridgewater, was the liquor that he made.
But I thought that was quite interesting, that he was a soap maker. Grandmother Bosmus herself came from up in Maine. Her maiden name was Moore, which is something. I have a whole write-up here. Helen Bosmus gave me of Grandma Bosmus's people, and they came from Germany.
I thought originally they were from Holland, but
No,
evidently
Germany.
it was Germany.
Here it is right here. This tells all about it. All about the Bosmuses. Helen gave me all this. And she's still got more. Now there's a cousin down in Halifax that ties in. You and I have never met her yet. Her name was Ruth, but your father would have known, I think, because I heard him talk about Ruth. And her husband was a superintendent of schools up in Boston and Roslindale, and they've gone down to Halifax, and he's in the hen business down there. And she, at the present time, is working at the town records, town hall.
Mhm.
Helen says she's got a good position. She has 2 children, a boy and a girl, and educated in college. So Helen sent me all of this, which I thought was quite something.
Where did she get that?
Helen,
Yeah.
this Ruth gave it to her, and I was trying to think of Ruth's last name.
You're thinking of Helen O'Brien?
Her last name is Perkins. Her first name was Ruth Vosmus Perkins.
Oh.
She came down from Maine to Mass. So she all ties in. She's a Vosmus. And you see, some of them were evidently settled up in Maine too, because that's...
Well, which one did Alan Fisher marry? Was that her name, or was it?
No, Alan Fisher married... Yeah, Alan Fisher's married the daughter of Fred Vosmus down in Cochise.
Cochise,
Yeah.
My father lived in Cochise.
Well, your
Come to
father
think of
came
it.
down from Canada, he told me, at the age of 17, Grandpa did.
Mhm.
And he brought his mother. Her health wasn't very good. As I said, she had tuberculosis. And he got down to Grandma Vosmus in Cochise, and they weren't very welcome, I'm sorry to say. He was kind of upset about it. He told me about it. So he didn't stay there, but I guess the
Well,
one
he
night,
had
and he
the-
went right out and found a place, and he
Right.
went right to work, and made a
He got a
home for
place
her.
right around, about a block from where the Vosmus people lived, right opposite the railroad station in Cochise.
Mhm.
I could take you to the house the other day.
Yeah.
It's still there, and that's where he lived.
And he took care of her. And then my father didn't come down till a little while later. My father came down when he was 9 years old. And I remember hearing him tell about waiting at White River Junction up there in New Hampshire. It was overnight, and he thought it was like a month, he said. Of course, a kid, 9
Right.
years old. And
Where did he go when he came down?
I suppose they headed for Cochise because my father went to live at Fred Vosmus's house.
Mhm.
And you know where that is.
Mhm.
Because they had a farm and they
It's
had
a
cattle,
farm.
and my father went to this one-room schoolhouse with all ages, and how he got his keep was milking the cows and doing the chores around the farm for Fred Vosmus.
Yeah, it's still there, fam.
So that's where father lived. Their home was pretty well broken
There was one
up.
more though, wasn't there?
The
A daughter?
father had this sister Nina.
Right, that's
And
what
she
I'm
was the
talking
older one of the family.
She's
And
the
then
one-
there was another child, her name was Fanny, but I guess she died at infancy.
about. Okay, where's Nina?
Aunt Nina passed away. She lived in Kingston.
Kingston,
Oh, she did?
And she
Okay.
married
Well-
Wilbur Kingsland from
Well,
up
no.
in Canada.
Marshfield.
Yeah,
It
well,
was
they
just
later
over the
came
railroad
down.
station.
Yeah, they later came
Yeah.
down. But I mean, that's where
They're
she
still
lived.
there.
Okay.
She stayed
Yeah.
up there. She married, and that's what broke the home up. But Grandma was poor health, and her
Mhm.
father brought her down.
But there was, let's see, Nina, and of course the daughter's still living too, I presume.
Aunt Nina's daughter.
Mhm.
The only ones that are living now is Lila over in Lake Blue here
The younger one, didn't she
in,
pass away?
I think it's Winter Park or Winter Haven, one or the
Mm.
other. Lake Blue.
Mhm.
She was in a mobile home park. And Virginia
Virginia's the one I was thinking.
passed away here.
Yeah, well,
2
her
years
husband
ago.
was in the sand gravel business down
Yes, Dick Melvin.
there. Yeah, that's
They
right.
lived on Ocean Avenue there at
He-
Marshfield Green.
He was in the police department
That's
because
right.
I sat on the case in the jury. I didn't know until after it was all over that he was the officer,
Yeah,
the arresting
seemed like
officer.
a nice chap.
And
What did Grandpa do when he got down here?
He worked for the Cottage Works. Wasn't
he-
that where
he,
he went?
He did
Carver Cotton Gin.
Carver Cotton Gin.
That's
was
what I'm trying
one,
to say.
and then he went from there, I think, to the Old Colony Foundry as a patent maker.
Mhm.
And from there, I guess he went to the Moss outfit.
He used to bicycle, I know, from Cochise to that Carver Cotton Gin place. I didn't talk about that. On bicycle.
Yeah, that was in East Bridgewater, the Carver Cotton Gin.
Yeah,
It's still there.
Still there today.
Still there
Yeah,
today.
yeah. Are they
And,
operating?
Then he worked, I know he worked at the foundry,
Yes, you will.
because he told me that. But when, I just don't know.
Yeah.
And, and he must have I can remember on the Moss automobiles, he had a lot to do with the designing of the engine of it. I know
Did you
that.
see that?
I didn't
There
see
is.
it, Paul.
That's a car,
The Moss Automobile.
1970.
He was superintendent of their factory. And you can put those in your bag there.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if there's anything more.
They
Yeah,
built the
did you
one of
read
the
them?
first valve and head engines of what? That was a valve and
I'm
head.
a cheap stick. You got, still got
T-head.
that on, Ray?
You bet your life, Grammy.
Oh. Well,
Would you like to, excuse me, would you like to know about your great-grandmother, which would be Grandma, Ray's mother, his mother?
yeah, I got stories on
I
that.
think that would be of interest. Her name was Lake. Let me get the,
Like, Daddy didn't give me that name.
no, I got it here.
don't know all that dope.
Oh, here.
You know?
We'll go over it again later, Grammy. You can.
Great-grandmother
Used to be John.
Crossley, his maiden name was Annabelle Lake. And she was born December the 11th, 1854, and died March the 24th, 1937. And Raymond, you have seen her, and she's been at your house. And didn't you say she came
Oh,
down
yeah,
to your
she was
wedding?
at our wedding.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, there
she
you
was
are.
at
That
our
was
wedding.
in the
yeah.
28.
She married Robert Crossley in 1870. He was born. No, I beg your pardon. It's married in 1870, born 1848. So that's as much as
But,
I know about that.
there's
I've seen the house. It's a
A
cute
lot
little
of the
place.
families still living up there. I could give you the mail address, but I couldn't tell you where
You
it
mean of
is.
the Harveys? Well,
Yeah,
here
where the
I'm-
house is up there.
Oh, well, I saw
It
the
was-
house. It,
Route
they
number one,
ruined it.
Hants
They
County.
ruined it. There's somewhere here. I'll show Ray.
Now, I have a story on your grandmother you gave me. Her name was Crosley, didn't you say? Crosley.
Yes.
Her, and Dad says her father's name was Crosley, was a tea merchant
Well, that's what my mother has said in
This
the
is what I'm
past,
looking
and
for now,
from
Ray.
England.
This is one of your father's cousins. Now that's Ina. Her name was Scaling before she were married,
Mhm.
and her mother's name was Minnie, which was Aunt Clara, my Aunt Clara's, Ray's mother.
Well, this Lester, that's his name up in there. The one that's Lester Scalings. He lived up Epping, New Hampshire.
Minnie was the sister to Clara. And if you look closely at the
Yes.
likeness of Ellery and Ina, you
That's
can
right.
see that family
That's right.
relationship, can't you? I
Right.
thought it was so pointed.
Now, where did
And-
she live? Arkansas?
No, she lives at
Nova Scotia.
Kemp Shores,
Oh.
Hants County, in Nova Scotia.
Okay, you spoke
Up there
of
on
her.
the
Right,
Avon River,
okay.
yeah. And this is her husband, Chris, here.
Right.
Only when you say Avon up there, say Avon.
Or Avon, okay.
Look
Now
at it.
this business over
They
here,
say it
Ray,
different than we do.
these are all of Grandma's
Those
sisters.
are my
But your
aunts.
grandmother was not there. I can't understand. Here
She had a
they
lot
are
of
in a
sisters,
family
didn't she?
clan.
Hmm.
7 of them. This is Florence, the youngest one. Florence is now about 68 or 9. I think this is Aunt Esther.
It looks like Esther.
That's Aunt Esther, and I think that's Becky. One's got to be Catherine. This is Aunt Ine. I know for sure that's Aunt Ine. Ethel, I beg your pardon. That's Aunt Ine, and that's Aunt Georgie up in Carlisle. Now, these are the only 2 that are living today.
And
these-
and some of them half sisters, second
Well, yeah,
marriages.
yeah. Well,
Like that.
Florence is a half.
Yeah.
I got them listed here somewhere. And these are all the husbands that go with these women.
Oh, I see.
I don't know if there's enough heads there. I didn't count them. But this is Uncle Emil here. He
Les-
belongs to Aunt Georgie, this one here. I got a feeling that this is at Aunt Georgie's farm up at Greenland at the head of Great Bay in Dover, New Hampshire. That's where they had that
The
celebration.
one that's Lester, we have been up to his house. Remember it up in New Hampshire when we'd go up to my aunt? And we'd stop at Lester's
Yeah.
and
Let me see which
then
one
we'd go
is her.
from there to Aunt Ethel's.
I think that's Georgie Ney, the one that married Aunt Catherine up in, oh, well, they did live in, gee, what's the name of it? The last of it, they lived in Roanoke. Montgomery.
Oh,
He run-
Alabama?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's right.
Georgine A. This is Herb, Uncle Herb, the one that
He lived in Epping, New Hampshire.
And then Lester lived up the road some distance from
Lester
him.
lived, as you turn up the road to go up to Herb's. He was right on the main road, and Herb lived back in the country, just beyond the campground up there in Epping.
Oh, I don't know. B, what do you got there? There too.
So why don't you go to the beginning and just go through it?
No, all I got, if it was right, Daddy says the grandmother, her father was a tea merchant from England.
That's what my mother said, so I can't say anything different.
Boy, I wouldn't know that. He must be probably
The
knows, I'm
Crossley
sure.
name
Otherwise,
came
you've
from
got
England,
everything
and
else there.
that the
That's where Ellery gets his middle name.
they were somebody from the family that just hitched
I
and
think
they
that's interesting.
came across.
These are lots of Ellery Simpson. This is what I started out with. Then
Right.
I just,
Right.
and the other material I had been gathering for years, and I thought it was a good time to put it in here and get it out of, for fear it get lost.
And you're told all about
I
when they
thought
were
that
married.
up
Yeah.
in
The Baptist church.
Sherbrooke, they had a monument or something up there to the name for some reason or something that was done up there.
Oh, I don't know.
But I never get up there to.
I don't know. This is Uncle Emo, the folks that we were going to see up in Carlisle. He's a native, Arkansas. He's a native there. He's a real farmer, but he's the nicest guy. And that's his house.
Right.
Tapestry, all brick veneer. And this is Florence. This is Aunt Florence, Ray's aunt, the youngest one of the family. And that was her trailer over there beyond the rose garden. Now she has met a man who's in very comfortable circumstances and a good break for her, which is her third marriage. And he raises suey bean and rice,
Yeah,
and
that's
he's
what-
fabulous.
That's
He's
what
got
he raises, soybean.
vast acreage. His house stands way out in this vast acreage, and you can see it for miles. And it's really an ideal spot. And when he gets the ground toiled in the summer, and the new growth is just coming up, I wish you'd see the rows. It's just as straight as good. It's a picture to see. He's a very particular man. He's a fine person. I have a picture of him somewhere here. That was Anne Marie the day she was a day old.
Davis.
Right.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, here's Fred and Florence, and that was Florence's trailer.
Mm-hmm.
She sold it. This is another picture. I took it because she had so many lovely flowers, but Emil's the one the rose garden. I got some beautiful pictures of that rose garden. That was Elvis' boat.
I remember that. You had that for
Yeah.
a good many years,
Yeah.
didn't you?
This was a month after we were married, and that's the last picture we had together. That was terrible to me. That's why I cut it all up. And that's the cutie, I think.
Yeah. We have that was the one we
That's
made
when
a
I
copy
gave
of.
you, yeah.
Right.
Did you make a copy?
Yes,
Dad's
he's
in
got
here.
it.
Huh? Where is it? It's around, sir.
Which one is it?
That's this is Ray, and this is
That's
Elroy.
Ted.
Yeah.
That's Ted.
That's
Ted with the dress on.
And Newman's made a great big copy on a slide of a picture of Gussie and Elroy and Dad.
You know the back shop
Not this
up there
picture,
in
but
Campbell? That's it.
Yeah, I know. I
With-
recognize
Oh, is
with
that
the
what it
With
is?
the door
Oh.
missing. Then we
Have you
built
got a
a
co-
new building.
have you got a
Boat
copy of
Mitchell.
this?
Yes, he's got one.
I'll
Yeah.
have to see it
And
sometime.
it was
I'll
funny, I don't know,
see
some
And
wise...
Georgie gave me that.
it.
It was
Some-
nothing but a postal card.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Oh, here it is.
I
You
love
can-
it. I think it's
you could
adorable. I
just
thought I
see
better
it
put it in
there.
Yeah,
here.
the boat
Yeah.
works.
No. Some wise guy painted on the side of the building, Natfield Navy Yard.
This one, Gussie Newman's got in a big slide.
That's my father's
It's
car.
adorable.
Business.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty interesting, so I
We
thought I'd
remember that.
put those
We were
all
down
in.
here when that
Nice.
came,
Yeah.
and that was in
Yeah,
the
I
paper.
had a
Yeah, they did.
snapshot of that.
Buy some.
Yeah, let's see.
I had one of those ones.
This is all about the Lindsay setup, right down to you children, Ray.
Mhm.
right down to your father, yeah. I thought it was a good time to do it. It took my mind up a lot, I'll tell you that, when I was first home. And that's all about the Bosmases coming from Germany. And of course, Grandpa in his car in that picture.
When was this taken? This one here.
Who's this, Ray? Who's this?
That's Dad, Grandpa.
Oh, to me,
Doesn't look like, you know.
to me it looks like
Well, I think
David.
it looked like you in
Boy.
those days, Ray.
When
Your
was
face
that-
was
when
full.
was that?
If that
Taken.
doesn't look like David.
I thought it was David.
Amber Huntoon gave a shawl for Sally, Bob's daughter, when she was married. Must have been the first marriage.
First marriage, yeah.
I wasn't there. I was in
No,
Florida,
first
and this is
marriage.
Gordon. He's kind of obliterated on account of the leak in the film, I guess. And that's Elroy, your father, and Earl.
Right.
And that's Grandma. That's the only picture I had of her. Matter of fact, I had another one, but Clara wanted something I had. She wanted one of her mother, so I gave her one I had.
This is Grandma
This is
Lindsay.
your last
Yes,
rebuild.
Yeah,
that's the
last
last one.
one.
And I gave you a picture of the eyelet machine. Do you remember? The snap. Didn't I give it to you?
I don't recall.
That was the last machine they worked on.
Right.
Well, that year he went to Florida, I kept on working on it.
Yeah, I know you did.
Right.
Boy, did he have a life. Do you know he didn't want to go home?
Hmm?
He didn't want to go home. He knew you were there doing it, and he was perfectly willing to
What
stay.
a ride you
And
took.
you know he was all set to go back.
I remember that.
He
You
went-
remember he was going to sell the
Yeah,
business
yeah.
out? I don't know
Well,
about
he-
the house
he
now,
didn't-
I don't recall.
He wasn't going to sell it. What he wanted to do, give it to me.
Oh.
And I said no, because it belonged to him.
Yeah.
So I said what I would do would work for so much an hour on it, and that's what I did. I don't know how many $100 I gave him when he came home.
Yeah. This is the Carlisle Church, and Aunt Georgie and Uncle Emil. That's the Golden Ages in their church. And they give a banquet, and all those people are given a free dinner. And each one has some member of the church, some younger couple, will sponsor them, come and pick them up in the car. And they all have boutonnieres and corsages. They do it up brown. This is Uncle Emil's rose garden. Isn't that pretty, Ray?
Evidently, they had good growing soil.
Very, very
out
pretty.
there.
Well,
Yeah.
he sure spends a lot of time on it.
And that's Aunt Georgie. Yes, he does. It's a great hobby, and he picked it all up by himself. This is their 53rd wedding anniversary, and that's why we stayed longer. He didn't want us to come home. He wanted us to stay and go with them. So Elroy and I took him out for a treat. We went way up to Heber Springs, up at the foothills of the Ozarks. I love this one because Georgie and Elroy. One Sunday we came from church. I guess that's about it. This is all Edward stuff. Marblehead and Plymouth, and those letters. Rector Matthews. Did you know Roger Blanchard?
No.
You remember Roger Blanchard, Rector
No, I
Matthews?
don't believe so.
He took him into his home. His father was a drinking man and the mother had separated, and there was Cedric. Rector Matthews took him into his home, got him interested in the theological business. That boy is a bishop today. Was the last I knew in the state of Ohio.
Now, who is what?
This is
relationship?
Rector Matthews. He used to be the head of St. Paul's Church, Brockton. That's Pleasant Street,
okay.
Brockton. That's an old picture. They used to call him the Bishop of Main Street.
Mhm.
He was so well known by everybody. And that's St. Paul's Church. After the fire, the new restoration, I think that burned in 1935. And that beautiful stained glass window Lawton Blanchard gave to the church. The altar was given by Frank Ward, the tax collector in Brockton. And this story here is the story and the picture of this stained glass window that Lawton Blanchard gave. This was the day I was confirmed there.
Mhm.
A couple of years ago.
Few, yeah. That was my baptismal. That was the Bishop Babcock. That was the sermon he preached that Sunday. And this is the
St.
little
Pete.
church over in Clearview on 38th Avenue that Elroy and I were married in.
Did you see Hazel's picture? Graduation
When I was
picture?
16. About
Yeah,
16, I
you got
guess.
You got a
It's a
big one
beautiful
of it of your
picture.
face.
Oh,
haven't
yeah?
you? Yes.
Do you remember that?
You got a big one of it, haven't you? Yeah, with your, just your head.
Oh, well, that's another picture here.
Do you
Um,
remember that day the picture was taken?
Yes, Rand did that.